Most people believe that those who never quit are simply born stronger, more confident, or more motivated than everyone else. But psychology tells a different story. The truth is, almost everyone thinks about giving up when progress feels slow or failure seems close. The difference is not the absence of doubt, it's how they respond to it. Our brains are naturally wired to avoid pain, uncertainty, and repeated effort because they consume energy and feel risky. That is why quitting often feels like relief in the moment. People who keep going aren't fearless. They have learned to act despite fear and discomfort. In this video, you'll discover the psychological habits that separate those who stop from those who keep moving until they succeed. Quitting is not always a sign of weakness. It is often the brain's default survival response. Long before modern life, conserving energy increased the chances of survival. Because of this, your brain constantly looks for the easiest path and treats uncertainty as a potential threat. When you face a difficult goal, experience repeated setbacks, or don't see immediate results, your brain releases stress signals that make stopping feel like the safest option. This is why people often lose motivation just as things become challenging. The feeling of wanting to quit is normal, but it is not always a reliable guide. People who persist understand that discomfort is often evidence of growth, not failure. Instead of obeying every emotion, they focus on the next small action, allowing consistent effort to override the brain's instinct to give up. One of the biggest misconceptions about successful people is that they wake up feeling motivated every day. In reality, motivation is temporary because it depends on emotions, and emotions constantly change. Psychology shows that people who never quit rely on habits and systems instead of waiting to feel ready. They remove the need to make the same decision over and over again by creating routines that become automatic with time. This reduces mental effort and makes consistency easier, even on difficult days. They understand that action often comes before motivation, not the other way around. Once they start, their brain builds momentum, making it easier to continue. The people who achieve extraordinary results are rarely the most motivated. They are the ones who keep showing up, even when motivation disappears, because they trust their process more than their feelings. Most people see failure as proof that they are not good enough, but people who never quit interpret it in a completely different way. Psychology calls this a growth mindset, the belief that abilities improve through effort, practice, and learning. Instead of asking, "Why am I failing?" they ask, "What is this experience teaching me?" That simple shift changes everything. Every setback becomes useful information instead of a reason to stop. They understand that mistakes expose weak strategies, not a person's worth. This mindset also reduces the fear of trying again because failure is no longer the end of the journey. It becomes part of the process. History shows that many successful entrepreneurs, athletes, and creators faced repeated rejection before achieving success. What separated them from everyone else was not luck or talent, but their willingness to learn, adjust, and keep moving forward after every setback. One reason most people quit is that the brain naturally craves immediate rewards. Every time you choose entertainment over hard work, your brain receives a quick burst of pleasure, making that choice feel satisfying. Long-term goals, however, rarely provide instant results. Weeks or even months of effort may pass before any visible progress appears. This is where people who never quit think differently. They train themselves to value future rewards more than temporary comfort. Instead of judging success by today's results, they judge it by whether they kept their promise to themselves. Psychology shows that this ability to delay gratification is strongly linked to long-term achievement. They understand that meaningful success is built through countless small actions repeated consistently. While others stop because they cannot see immediate progress, they trust that every effort is an investment, knowing that persistence compounds into results that seem impossible at the beginning. Goals can inspire you, but they are not enough to keep you going when life becomes difficult. Psychology suggests that lasting behavior is driven more by identity than by ambition. People who never quit don't just chase success. They see themselves as the kind of person who finishes what they start. This identity influences every decision they make. When obstacles appear, they don't ask, "Do I feel like continuing?" Instead, they ask, "What would someone like me do in this situation?" That question reinforces the person they believe they are. Over time, each small action strengthens that identity, making persistence feel natural rather than forced. Goals may change, and motivation may disappear, but a strong self-image remains. When you begin to identify as someone who learns, adapts, and keeps moving forward, quitting no longer feels like an option. It feels like stepping away from who you have become. People often confuse rest with giving up, but they are completely different. Rest is a strategy for recovery, while quitting is abandoning the journey altogether. Psychology shows that prolonged stress and exhaustion reduce focus, self-control, and decision-making ability, making people more likely to walk away from their goals. Those who never quit understand this, so they treat recovery as part of progress rather than a sign of weakness. They step back to regain energy, reflect on what is working, and return with a clearer mind. They don't expect themselves to perform at their best every single day, but they refuse to let one difficult day define their future. Consistency is not about moving fast. It is about continuing over time. By protecting their physical and mental energy, they make it possible to keep showing up long after others have burned out and given up. People who never quit are not born with a special mindset. They build it through repeated choices. Every chapter of this video points to the same truth. Persistence is a skill that can be trained. Your brain may encourage comfort, fear may tell you to stop, and progress may seem invisible. But none of those feelings have to control your actions. The people who achieve remarkable success are those who continue taking small, consistent steps, even when results are delayed. They rely on habits instead of motivation, learn from failure instead of fearing it, and build an identity around resilience rather than perfection. You don't become unstoppable in a single moment. You become unstoppable every time you choose progress over excuses. The next time you feel like quitting, remember that success is rarely decided by one big breakthrough. It is usually earned by the person who simply refused to stop when everyone else did.